Step 4, discipline in health and fitness. This is the most common place where young men can use discipline to improve their lives. Go to the gym and eat right, eat clean, even when you don't feel like it. It is really going to the gym and hitting workouts that is usually most young men's like first taste of discipline. It's first taste of feeling like quite masculine and, doing something even though you don't feel like it, doing it even though it's hard, doing it especially because it is hard. And there's 4 major benefits to being disciplined when it comes to fitness. Number 1, it's the concept of hard times create strong men. You've probably heard of the cycle before. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. Wherever we are in the cycle right now, I think we know where we are. The hard times are pretty much here for a lot of countries, and it will get worse and worse. Like, we're talking potentially decades of like the dark ages. On the other hand, there might actually be the biggest sort of resurrection of good times as fast as possible that we've ever seen in history because of technology, because of AI. Like, who knows where it's going to go right now? It does seem to be the case that we are like entering the hard times, which means that if you are a strong man, you will be able to ride this wave that we're going through. But weak men won't. Weak men are succumbing every single day to more of these addictions, whereas some men are getting stronger even though the times are getting harder. It's hard right now, like for example, I live in the UK. It's hard for an average man to be able to feed his family because of the cost of living crisis that, he's not making much money. The weak men will just kind of struggle with that and just keep struggling and complaining and ask for handouts. The strong man will figure out extra ways that he can make money and become more capable. It's how you use the situation around you. And going to the gym, interestingly, will help you with this. It will develop you into a strong man because you're putting yourself through hard times. Now, I've got to make a disclaimer. A lot of guys will not get this benefit because for a lot of people, including like fitness influencers and everything, they're too relaxed. They're too easy. Like, their workout routine, their diet. I see like every now and then I'll see a video from a fitness influencer and he's having like 200 grams of sugar a day. He's eating like protein pancakes and he's put little like fucking chocolate spread over it or something. Like, is this the level of discipline we've got to? This is the pinnacle of health, is these fitness YouTubers who are literally showing you like, oh, look at me, I'm having a snack, I'm having loads of sugar and stuff. Like, bro, like I said before, 100%, if you want to go out for like a nice treat every now and then, 100%, I love to do that as well. So, I don't have like a 100% perfect diet. This is the pinnacle of health these days. This is like fitness influencers. 20 years ago, it was, okay, way out, the white rice, the broccoli, the chicken, maybe a little bit too extreme. And now it's these guys who are like doing 10,000 calorie challenges because all the disgusting people just watch that content. It should still feel hard today. If you really want to level up, if you really want to get stronger, it should be relatively hard. Like I'm speaking directly to the guys who've been training for years now. Remember when you first started in the gym and how fucking hard it was? Remember how sore your muscles got in that first ever like arm workout that you did? The first time that you did a bunch of bicep curls and the next day you couldn't even straighten your arm and you felt the same way about your hamstrings and everything, right? That was a hard workout. That built you strong. These days we do a full workout and afterwards we could work out again. Because even though our workout is like, harder than it was before, our capabilities have risen. So we're no longer even in that level where we're challenging ourselves and becoming stronger. The same with dieting. Remember the first time that you started to diet and the first time you really made some progress in dieting, how like hard it kind of felt. Remember how much you used to think about this concept of eating less calories and eating cleaner, and it would like literally almost feel like a full-time job. And these days it might feel like way easier. You're just used to it. That means that sure, you're rinsing out the current benefits, but you're not growing anymore. You're not getting any stronger right now. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you're already a super strong man. Chances are you're probably not, because I'm not. I've still got a long way to go. And if you're sat here like learning from me and I'm telling you as your teacher that I've got a long way to go, I think you should slap your ego and think, you know what, I probably do as well. So your diet and your training should feel hard today. I know that I'm doing this right when I'm in the gym and I really want to go home, but I have to really fight to stay there. Whereas I've had a lot of workouts over the last few years where I've just kind of, I've just done it. Yeah, it's hard. When you're pressing the weight and you're close to failure, it feels hard. But all in all, it doesn't it's not 10 out of 10 difficult. It's kind of like fun going to the gym. But these days, recently, just very recently, only for a few days, I've literally been in the gym and been like exhausted and tired. And it really reminds me of when I first used to go to the gym, when like you couldn't wait to almost like leave. Like it was fun, but it was super tiring. And the same with my diet. I had to restrict it to the next level now, that now it feels like kind of like how it was when I was a beginner, and I can see the progress that I'm making. It's like I keep feeling this weird blissful feeling, which is like I can genuinely understand the concept of potential, of self-mastery. Because most people's fitness journey and, you know, the journey to be disciplined looks like this. Like that. Like it starts and they get, you know, loads of progress. They're being really disciplined, but then out of nowhere, it just starts to level off and they just kind of stay comfortable here. Even the guys who consistently go to the gym, if you've been going to the gym for a few years, I guarantee you've been pussying out. Guarantee that even though the gym, like you've been going consistently and the gym feels kind of hard, guarantee that you're not like progressively overloading, not just set by set, but just kind of workout and month by month of like, you know, restricting your diet more, getting a little bit more extreme in your training. And people can say, oh, well, you know, this is, you know, restrictive diets don't work and stuff. Yeah, for pussies, of course they don't. For shallow breathers, of course they don't. But for superior men who want to become strong, this is the trajectory. It's like every single month, you slightly increase the level of discipline that you need for your activities. Most guys stopped 1 year into going to the gym and they just kind of like maintained that level. You know, if you've been finding that you're not making as much gains recently, and we all blame it on like, yeah, you know, it's noob gains, you make a lot of muscle when you first start and you don't make much after that. Maybe you've just been pussying out. Maybe you're not putting in the same level of discipline relative to when you first started. Because I remember when I first started and I found it incredibly difficult to diet and to train. And then for years, it was way easier because my skill level had went up, but I wasn't challenging myself anymore. So if you want like a little idea, for example, start adding in some cardio. Maybe you already do some. Go and track your cardio and do 100 calories every single day for the rest of your life. And every time you get onto your favorite cardio machine to hit 100 calories, try and beat your score from last time, like your time, for example. So you really like the treadmill, for example, and it takes you 10 minutes to hit 100 calories today. Tomorrow you go into the gym and you try and get it in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Then the next day you try and get it in 9 minutes. Then randomly, one day later, you end up getting it in like 7 minutes and it's like, whoa, that's really good. Then the next day it's like 8 minutes and you're really trying to beat the 7 minute again. But, you know, that was quite lucky. So you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to be, you know, progressively overloading. I'm going to be smart. Let's try and get it on average like 8 minutes. Okay, 8 minutes, then 750. And you start playing this game. And now this is like an extra level of challenge. You're there sometimes in the gym feeling like, oh, I don't want to do the 100 calorie thing. It's stupid. Hamza was just, you know, saying it lightly. I don't want to do it. That's exactly how we felt when we started going to the gym. You wake up the next day and your legs are sore and you've got that like pain, heavy feeling in your Achilles tendons and your calves. That's exactly how it felt when we first started training. Now you're like being as disciplined as you was back then relatively, and you're becoming stronger. The second benefit of being disciplined in fitness is the physical and mental health. That's going to translate over to better work, relationships, happiness, and love. And the third benefit of being disciplined in fitness, of course, is getting into shape. Tristan Tate was on a podcast that I watched a little while ago, and he was asked what's like the number one tip to look better in a suit. And he ended up saying it was just get into shape. It wasn't actually about the suit or the tailor or the style. If you're in shape, you look good in clothes or without clothes. Finally, the fourth benefit to being disciplined in fitness, eventually it becomes fun. If you keep going and you have this playful mindset, almost like you're playing a game, you're trying to beat your high score and you're trying to, you know, get the high score for the bench press. You're trying to get the high score for how fast you can burn 100 calories. That will soon turn into you genuinely just enjoying each and every gym session. And it becomes such a beautiful, enjoyable, and important part of your life. A lot of the guys who have been going to the gym for a while will know this. It really integrates into your personality and you start to love being an athlete. Like it adds to your self-image that you are this healthy person who's able to delay gratification, who's able to, you know, think for the future, who's able to enjoy the hard work, the exercise, the sweat, the discomfort, the pain, the sacrifice right now. And I think that's beautiful. I think it adds a lot of flavor to your life. Step 4.1, destroying depression with discipline. There's a lot of people these days who feel quite depressed. And whether there is such a concept of clinical depression or not, I actually don't know, which I know sounds stupid, but I think that the majority of people who have depression, I don't think it's this like weird mystical chemical imbalance that they might need medication for. It's in my belief that we feel depression when we don't act like how humans are supposed to act. Now, you remember being a child and how playful and innocent and beautiful the world used to be. And I'm not talking about being a teenager, but I'm talking about actually being like a pure child. Remember when you used to climb trees and you used to jump over puddles? Like, remember when you used to literally just lie down in the grass and you just kind of like look at the individual blades of grass and you'd see tiny insects and you'd play with them, maybe you'd kill them, right? We don't do that as adults anymore. We're so focused on our phones, on our computers, on like just, these desires that have been put into us by influencers and by media. We're constantly thinking about sex, but not in like a loving way, more in like a validation, like, obsessed with ejaculation. So we live this like shallow life, this dirty, shameful life as adults. And we wonder why we don't feel like happy, playful children anymore. So a lot of people believe that depression is something that they can't change. I'm depressed, I need medication. I think the issue from my understanding with medication is that it's not going to cure the problem. There's a reason why you're depressed. The medication just kind of masks the symptoms and kind of like makes you feel a little bit better, like a bit more mellow today. Antidepressants kind of take off the sort of extreme high and the extreme low. And so you're in this weird gray androgynous zone. And I'm not sure if that's the best way to go about this. I think perhaps a better way, which is going to require me to sound like a fucking asshole, is to ask you why you deserve to be depressed. If you really want this full guide to help you, and if you really want to make some progress here, it might be worth for you to like not think of me as a bad person when I say that, and for you to ask the question to yourself. Maybe write this down and write this as a note or something, and to answer this: what am I doing to deserve to feel depressed? It sounds like a horrible question. I can imagine so many people might like think that I'm weird or I'm a bad person for asking you this. I personally believe, you've listened to the entire world. Just listen to me for like 2 minutes and let me just explain my mindset. And you can just try what I'm saying, right? I personally believe that we deserve most of what happens to it. Pretty much everything apart from like extreme freak accidents and everything like that, right? And I believe, especially when it comes to things of how we feel, we are in total control of that, whether or not we realize it and whether or not we accept it. And so I believe it's more of an empowering thought to have, that our emotions are simply just caused by our actions. And honestly, when I've started to think like this, like I've started to think, okay, I control how I feel in life, I've had more control over it. So this is what I want to give you this gift, because it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. This is going to maybe sound like boasting, but it's not even in the kind of boast that most people would do. Most people will talk about their money and their fast cars. One of the things I really am proud of and I could boast about, I'm genuinely like quite a happy, content person. If there's 10 people sat waiting for the train, 9 of them are on a phone, and I'm the 10th guy who's literally happier than all of them put together with a smile on my face, just kind of like looking at the world. That's the kind of man that I've become now. And I promise that I was not always like this. This is because I've conditioned my own mind to like fight for my happiness, my joy, my survival, my gratitude and presence. And so I want to give you this gift, this mindset that I've had. If you ask yourself right now, and just be totally honest and really write this down as an actionable step, write some notes on this. What am I doing to deserve to feel depressed? Just write bullet point some ideas, and your lizard brain might pipe up and say, oh, nothing, it's just what my doctor told me, it's just, it's genetic and stuff. But just ask yourself, you don't need more education or anything. Just ask yourself, what are some of the actions I'm doing that probably leads to this? And you could probably write 100. Let's just be honest. I wake up late. I'm sleep deprived. I don't drink enough water. I wake up and the first thing I do is grab my phone, even though I shouldn't. I watched an Andrew Huberman podcast where he said that you should get sunlight in the morning, and I don't do it. I wear the same clothes and they're dirty and they stink, but I just throw them on the floor, then I pick them back up and I put them on. I have no respect for myself. I haven't groomed in a while. I missed quite a few days of brushing my teeth. I haven't played anything other than stimulation and porn and destructive habits. I've been addicted to these habits for a very long time and I've been unable to quit. I eat a very poor diet that my parents probably conditioned me to eat. You could write a massive list of reasons, of actions that you're doing which are contributing to you not feeling good. Now please try this. On the other side of the page, or maybe just below it on a PC, write, what activities and tasks was I doing as a child when I felt really happy? And if you've got some memories, you can just replay them. I was spending time with my brother. We would listen to peaceful music and we would play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like a card game. We'd play cricket in the back garden and would make up games where one of us had to be blindfolded but still hit the ball. When it was raining outside, that's when we'd go outside to play cricket, so that it was just kind of, in a weird way, more uncomfortable, but also like kind of more hardcore. We'd practice things just for the sake of practicing. Like, we used to like parkour and we weren't even good at it, so we'd literally just try and like jump over fences. Like, we would literally spend an hour trying to jump over a fence for the sake of just trying to jump over it, just for fun. I'll spend more time with my mother and I'd laugh and she'd tell me stories. My dad would teach me maths. I would spend way more time playing outside with my friends. The things that we would do before mobile phones was very enjoyable. We'd just go to like parks and literally would just jump over stuff. I swear childhood was just about jumping over stuff. We would climb trees and I'd be in awe as my dad could climb like the biggest tree ever and I could only get to like the second branch. I'd purposely jump into a muddy puddle and get it all over my shoes, and my mum would be angry at me, but it was really fun. We'd go on adventures, which was literally just like a mile away from our house, and we'd end up going into like a random field and like make up stories like, oh yeah, this is where the homeless man lives who kills kids. Innocence. Like pure childish joy and play. What makes you happy? What makes you not feel depressed? I'm not sure if it changes that much. I think that, the things that we did as children that really brought us into a flow state that made us super happy, I think that it's specifically exactly the same activities right now, but it's that it feels kind of weird. Because as a grown adult, in some ways, like it shouldn't, but in some ways, it can feel a little bit weird or awkward to consider the idea of going to go climb a tree, right? Or to do like some of these things of like inviting your friends, like going onto your friend's door, knocking on the door saying, hi, do you want to play out? Don't bring your phone. Let's just go like ride our bikes for no reason. Hey bro, do you want to go jump over stuff? Right, there's a level of like, oh no, that's not what adults do, this age. Like, yeah, we can go to the gym and that's kind of nice, but that's about it, right? And any other kind of playing is just online these days. It's video games and everything, right? I have an actionable step, just something peaceful for you to try. Take one activity that you can remember that you used to do as a child, that used to be kind of fun and maybe exhilarating, and start doing it today. Climbing trees. Like, when was the last time you climbed a tree? You can't feel depressed when you're up high on it. You literally just can't. You can't feel depressed when you're on a tree. When you go for a run or for a walk, right, and it's been raining and there's a puddle on the floor, you can't feel depressed as you try and jump over the puddle, and you could kind of laugh at yourself because you didn't make it and you got it all over your shoes. You can't feel depressed when you're doing that. Now that's only a few seconds, and then straight after that the demons will come back. Okay, sure. But what if your day and your life and your month started to be filled up of these little micro childish habits? As they used to be as a kid. You used to see everything like a game. You used to see everything like a challenge. That's what we need to be like, even as adults. It's only, I wouldn't say Western, but it's only in these like these somewhat modern countries where people think that to be an adult means to be like this stuck-up person who maybe doesn't smile so much unless it's socially appropriate, who acts like everyone else, who doesn't act like a child, and so we wonder why we feel so bad. If you go to some other countries, not so much countries, but if you go to especially tribes which have been like quite untouched by modern civilization, you'll see the adults will literally dance for like an hour or two every single day. They'll do things which are fun for the sake of doing things just for fun. You can almost picture right now if like a YouTuber, or let's say if I did like a vlog with some like African tribe, you can imagine the kind of ones I'm talking about where they've all got like feathered headdresses. They make them. They spend an hour picking like feathers from chickens and whatever, dyeing them just because they're like, oh yeah, there's the yellow feather, and that's fun for them. Then they're there like doing their dance and everything, and they're having a good time. And here we are thinking that, oh yeah, adults shouldn't dance. Yeah, that's awkward. I feel embarrassed by that. Back to work, or back to my video games. So I invite you now as an actionable step to use discipline, because it will require discipline. You will have a lot of limiting beliefs about this to think, nope, this isn't going to work. Nope, this is going to be cringe. Someone might see me. Going to be cringe. Going to be awkward. Going to be uncomfortable. I'll go back to my video games. Hamza doesn't know what he's talking about. Depression can't be cured. Maybe you could be thinking that. But remember that I'm on your side here. And if your brain is literally arguing against like us, and it's saying, oh, no, we can't get any better. Is that really your own brain, or is that like fucking evil, demonic conditioning that's inside of you? Because your own brain should argue and fight for you, shouldn't it? So what if you can just manually input the thought into your brain right now? It's worth a try.